Hello, wonderful people. So we're on video. I've lost track. 46 out of 365 days today. And I'm sat on the sofa, quite relaxed, chilled. And it's how to switch off guilt-free is the subject today. And one of the major reasons that, or things that work for me, is to have a plan and know what needs to happen, and know that everything and everyone knows before I'm having time off how long I'm going to be switched off for, what they can access me for, what they can't. So whether my team, whether it's my family members, whether it's people online, as long as I've communicated it that I'm going to switch off, then I feel absolutely okay. So I've got a couple of clients I'm working with at the moment, one-to-one, and if they become conscious of thoughts or they become aware of the critic, they generally email me and send their stuff. So I've explained to them that for the next, it's now Friday the 15th, so we fly home next Friday. So for the next 7 days, I am going to be in pure holiday mode. Every morning will be about writing the book for a couple of hours. I generally wake up a lot earlier than Mark, and he likes to go for bike rides. So if we wake up at the same time, he will probably go for a ride, and I'll write for a couple of hours, and then we'll have a complete day of chilling, resting around the apartment and beach or swimming pool. And that's our plan. We've got some books to read, and we're going to be completely switching off. And when I say completely switching off, so that's something to think about yourself, is if you want to completely switch off guilt-free, if you go back to the clarity process, which we talk about on a Monday, or we will be talking about on Mondays from now on. The C is for curiosity, ask questions. The L is for language. So if you want to switch off guilt-free, then first of all, what do you mean by switch off? The amount of times that I have tried to switch off and ended up feeling resentful, being really narky. I said to Mark actually a few years ago, I often say to people I don't work in August, and I generally haven't done since I've run my own company now for 20 years, and I generally don't work in August because I was the primary carer for the children. When they were on school holidays, it was my responsibility to occupy them. And so when I worked for Slimming World, my club that I used to just turn up and see my members, I would work all day on a Thursday, and I would prepare all of the subjects, the themes, or the things that we were going to talk about. By the first week in July, I would have the whole of the itinerary for the whole of the summer holiday. So all of my planning side of stuff was all done. Everything to do with like congratulation notes or anything like that, anything I could pre-write, anything I could pre-organise, I would have done way in advance of the first 2 weeks in July, so that when I did have to work during the August period, it literally was show up and do that session, do some paperwork the following morning, usually some banking, and I didn't really have to do much until the August bank holiday when we did all our marketing. And the children used to go and stay with one of each of the grandparents, so they all had one Thursday with the grandparents. So all my childcare was taken care of, and I was talking to Mark this the other day, I don't think I took any holidays with my children until Paige was 5 years old. It was the first time I actually had a holoday when Paige was about 5, and we went to Disneyland Paris, which I saved up for, and then we went again when Liam was 5, so that would be 3 years later. And that was around the time that I separated from my ex-husband, and it's only really since then that we've had holidays, because my ex-husband was self-employed as well, and he wouldn't take time off. I quite like winter holidays, he liked summer holidays, but he didn't feel confident to not work. He felt he had to keep going. I'm pleased to say now he doesn't do that. I know he does take holidays with his wife, but it's one of the things about we become self-employed often because we want to have more time with our family, and because we're self-employed, we often don't really switch off. Whereas perhaps when you're in the corporate world or you had a job, you'd pack your laptop away, you say goodbye to your boss on a Friday, go on holiday for 2 weeks, and you'd be completely switched off, and you'd come back and you'd be completely rejuvenated. So you end up becoming self-employed in order to have more time with your family, and then what actually happens is all of your time that you're with your family, you're not really with them because your business or your work's in your head, and maybe the fact that you work from home, it will stimulate thoughts about work. So you're never really switching off. And what I've learned over the years is it does come down to having a really clear plan. It understands how you work at your best, but also each time I go and take some time off, I need to be really clear what kind of switch off is this switch off. So when I went in to Ireland in April, my PA is actually on holiday the same time that I'm on holiday this week. So I'm not switching off completely. I haven't got holiday notifications on my emails. I will check them every couple of days. I will go online and check them every couple of days. But what I'm not doing is really spending a lot of time in my head thinking about the planning and the strategy. I'm not thinking in my head about what I need to do for videos, because I'm recording them all today, and there'll be 7 videos already pre-done going out over the next week. So I'll still be meeting my commitment to publish daily, but I've pre-recorded them. And so I'll be able to be present in this moment with Mark. This is mine and Mark's time. 23rd will be our anniversary of our blessing. So we got married on the 7th, which we've already celebrated, and we had our blessing on the 23rd. And so this week really will be about us having big chunks of time in a day where we have not got to, I haven't got to try and get the video done by a certain time in a certain location. I don't have to be on the calls with anybody. He doesn't be on any calls anyway. We can just literally have a week of going with our own flow. So I guess what I'm realising this week is more about switching off from appointments and schedules. It's not so much switching off from the whole business, because I still want to write my book. It's something I love doing. But there have been times in the past when I've said to people, I'm off for the whole of August, and I've gone away. Mark and I remember we went away for about 3 weeks in the Gîtes that we hired from Claire Church in France, probably 6-7 years ago now. And I spent most of that August trying to build a website, trying to update my website. And then when I came back and everyone went, oh, you're so lucky, you're so great, you had a lovely time, I felt really resentful. But it was what I told them. I told them I was going to be off, because if I tell people I'm off, they won't expect anything from me. And then when I'm telling everybody else I'm off, I then can get away with stuff, because I'm not being asked for any effort. I'll pour into it back again now. So it's just something to think about when you say, if you've attracted this title, how to switch off guilt-free. You, first of all, clarity is what works. What do you mean by what you're saying? What kind of switch off is it, and what kind of guilt-free? When you're guilt-free, then what happens? So that's clarity. Confidence comes from knowing what works for you to switch off. So I know that having a clear plan, communicating to people, I now say to people, I'm not doing any face-to-face work in August, although I had some Zoom calls this time with a couple of one-to-one clients, because it worked for us as we were going through certain parts of their program. Or in April, I was like completely off the grid. I didn't have my phone on. It was switched off most of the 2 weeks we were away. I spent 3 or 4 days winding the company down and getting everybody ready, make sure everybody had everything they needed before I switched off, and then I was completely off. If my family needed me, they had to phone Mark, so I didn't even have my phone. So there are times when I completely switch off, and what works for me is always for me to be very clear at what point I switch off. There's always this little bit where I'm winding down, so I'm on holiday but I'm still tidying things up. It just takes me a little while to let it all go. And there's always a few days towards the end of the holiday where I say, right, I'm now building it back up. And so that's why Mark and I often take 2-3 weeks, even like a month now, because I will only really, I've had probably about 4 or 5 days the first week where I was completely switched off, and I'm going to have 7 days now where I'm completely switched off. So that's actually going to be like a 12-day holiday break. Now, you will all look at it as seeing, oh, she's been away for a month. I have. It's a gorgeous environment. It's a lovely space to be. But a lot of that time was about me having time to think. I want to stretch myself in my business this year. And I've done some videos already. I'm telling you on Wednesday next week, you'll get my Chatting with Purpose, my letter to myself, dated 2020, 15th of August, telling you about the year that I've just had. That's what I'm setting myself as an expectation. It's a massive ask of myself, and I really want to do it, and I really believe that I can do it. And over these videos, I want to be able to share with you those reflections and what happens. So for me to switch off like that for this week coming now, I have to tell you. So that's why I'm telling you on this video. I'm going to be switching off. Tell me what works for you, though, in this video below. Tell us below what works for you to switch off guilt-free. And the guilt-free is really important, because I was working with a client a few months ago, and she often has time away. Her job involves conferences, it involves going away for training. She's really good at booking weekends away with her partner. Her children, one of her children goes to their dad, so she often doesn't have that responsibility the weekend. The daughter's a lot older. She is really good at going and doing stuff for herself. However, what she realised when we were looking at it is she never really enjoyed it because she felt guilty. And so when other people complained about how much she was away, she really felt she wasn't getting enough time away, because when she was away, she wasn't really enjoying it. She wasn't feeling okay about being there, and therefore it didn't serve the purpose of recharging her, re-energising her, and refocusing her. She just felt bad because she was on holiday when she should have been at home with one of the children, or she felt she should have been at work when she was at home with the children, or whatever else was going on. Guilt's usually when we're caught between the decision of how do we have it all. So have a think about, where does your guilt come from? Please share in the video below. As I say, I will be checking online and doing some engaging, but even if I don't come online, ask each other questions. Don't wait for me. If somebody else puts a post, ask them a question about it. But between you, get curious about this. And just think about, if you want to switch off guilt-free, what needs to change? And if you're better at doing it today than you were a year ago or 2 years, tell us what's changed. Think about, what are you doing different now that you weren't doing before? Because if you put your attention on it, if you really listen to that, then the next time you want some guilt-free time off, you can remember what your own process was and you can tap into that. But when we share our experiences and we listen without judgment, we can find out what works for us, we can notice what works for other people, but more importantly, right here, right now, we can change the way things are if it's not working, but we can celebrate the stuff that is working. And so I'm feeling really honoured and very privileged that, I'm 52 years old and I've now worked out how to have some time off guilt-free. And it will be a week. And it'll be interesting because I think there's a part of me, and I don't know for sure about this, so I'm not going to say I'm definitely doing it yet because I need to check in if it's what I really want or it's just a kind of, but if I was to come here next year for a month, wouldn't it be great if I could have the whole month off and actually have a complete month off where I switch off completely, and I know that my business and my clients and my family and friends can all cope without me for a month. It'd be even better if some of the family could come out and see us for a week or so where we're here, and we just had the other time on our own completely. So I'm playing with that idea right now, but what I am noticing is I can take a week off. Actually, my critic's going, you probably do 5 days. I know that Saturday and Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I say from Saturday to Tuesday next week, I will be completely switched off. Mainly because I know there's some things that we're doing that are involved in socialising and swimming and relaxing. I might get more into it again on Wednesday and Thursday, and that's okay because we've got to pack and we've got to come back Friday. So that's my thoughts today. So tell me, what does it mean for you? If you say switch off, what kind of switch off is that? When you it's guilt-free, what kind of guilt-free? And just notice today, as we're doing Friday changes, what's changed? Are you more guilty now than you used to be? Are you taking less time off than you used to? If you've changed from being employed to self-employed, do you take less time off or more time off now? What is it that you're doing? And if you're really great at taking time off, I know you may not be used to being asked these kind of questions and asked to listen to the detail that much, but if you can think about what is your process, what are the strategies that you have in place? What are the thoughts that you think or feel? What do you say to people? What do you do? If you can think about what happens just before you take time off guilt-free, or you switch off guilt-free, then if you can tap into that inner wisdom that you do on autopilot and you find really easy, you can help me and everybody else get much better at guilt-free time off. And guess what? If we take guilt-free time off, we recharge, we restore, we come back, we're better listeners, we're better people, we have better relationships. So I'm quite chilled out, I've realised, on this sofa. So I'm going to love you and leave you. I'm just going to go and record the reflections for the last month, ready for Saturday and Sunday. And I've got a couple of other videos I need to do to make sure my 7 are done before I switch off this evening. Lots of love to you all. Take care.